Hey, can you guys hear me? If you guys could pop through the chat box and let me know that you can hear me and see my screen, we can go ahead and get started. I'm not the one that usually runs these coaching calls, so you have to bear with me as I kind of get set up here. But I'm excited to be here and share with you guys some Facebook stuff, specifically talking about the Pixel. So if you guys can just let me know that you can see my screen and hear me, we can begin. Got some questions earlier in the week about this call, so I just want to make sure I got everything set up here on my end correctly, and then we'll get going. Cool. Thanks, David. Appreciate that. Okay, cool. Thanks, guys. So like I was saying, I am not the usual person to run this, but super excited to share with you guys some stuff about the Facebook. And I'm probably going to go a little quicker than Adrienne or Trevor would, because I want to open it up for Q&A, because we get quite a few questions about the Facebook Pixel, and I want to make sure we have time to kind of get in the back end and go through some of that stuff. So just if you have questions as I go through this, kind of pop in and we'll get going. As always on these content Carrot coaching calls, we like to share some of the content that we have been putting out. This podcast is one of my favorite ones, in all honesty. It was pretty interesting. So if you haven't had a chance to go listen to Trevor and Matt talk about how he built his real estate business, he's also an agent. It's pretty interesting. And then the content marketing goals blog post was another one that I'm pretty proud of, that we were able to put out here at Carrot for you guys. So why do we do these calls? If you've been on these calls before, you're probably familiar, but basically what these are is this third option here, which is the ability for you to get on, discuss strategy with us, and in a group atmosphere, kind of ask questions and get your answers. How these calls work, run approximately 1 to 2 hours. This call will probably be much shorter than that. Like I said, I want to open it up for some Q&A. So I will train you guys up a little bit on some of the Pixel stuff that is tripping up a lot of investors. And yeah, David, I'll get to that in just a sec. He asked about, does the Pixel go on all my Carrot websites? The short answer is yes. And if you have strategy questions related to SEO, PPC, go ahead and just include them. Just if you guys can give me like the URL of your website and stuff, that might help. Yeah, and then any other questions, I will do my best. I might refer you to Adrienne if it is something outside of my knowledge base. But if you guys want to chat with me, I see these coming through right now. You go ahead and just click this new conversation over there on the right next to the video that you are currently watching. If you're on mobile, you might have to scroll down a little bit. And if you want to make sure you get the full benefit of seeing this video in HD, that little gear icon down there is going to allow you to change the resolution on the video. And then finally, we like to start off the coaching call with a little dose of awesomeness. This is a live testimonial from somebody that reached out to us last week. And we just like to share all the awesomeness that comes through Carrot and really, promote that sense of community. And, we appreciate you guys letting us know when you close deals, because we can only see the leads that come into your accounts. And we just love hearing you guys being able to run your businesses off those leads. Not me, that is Adrienne, who was going to be on this call, but had something pop up. So there's a little bit about Adrienne. He's been with us for over a year now, and he is incredibly awesome at support and strategy. He does multiple deals a month. So if you have any questions about that kind of stuff, we can get you in contact with Adrienne. But this is me with that little arrow pointing over my head. That is me with a bunch of my friends and my wife. And I help out here with the growth and marketing at Carrot. I graduated from the same school as Trevor, a super small school down in Southern Oregon called the Oregon Institute of Technology. I have a degree in marketing. I run the Facebook ads here at Carrot, and then I also help out a few select investors run some Facebook ads, and then I do it myself as well. I'm an avid reader, and I love testing the data and analyzing data here at Carrot, as well as front-end development and design. All right, I'm going to cover what we're going to go over on today's call. So the first thing is, what is the Facebook Pixel and where to find it? how to handle the pixel if you have more than one website, which is what David was just asking about. And then we're going to go into how to tell if the Facebook pixel is working, if you've installed it correctly and it's sending data back. And then how to retarget with the Facebook pixel. And finally, how to build a custom audience with your pixel. And then, of course, we'll open it up for some Q&A. So one thing I'm not real sure about here is how advanced some of you guys are with the Facebook stuff. So if you could just pop through and let me know kind of what your experience is with Facebook marketing, I might be able to kind of tailor this talk a little bit around that. So if you can go ahead and just pop through and tell me, you know, have you ever ran an ad on Facebook? If so, how did it go? And just let me know. I'll give a couple seconds to see some of these pop through here. Cool. Okay. Okay, so not a whole ton of experience, so we can kind of start at the basics. So what is the Facebook pixel and where to find it? So the Facebook pixel is literally just this piece of code. It's different for everybody, but what you're going to see is this number, this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0 number. That is obviously a test number, but that is the unique number that sends data back to Facebook from your website. So that's all a pixel is. It's a little bit of code. And where it says base code, that is going to be installed of your website. Now, with InvestorCarrot, we make it really easy to drop that code in the settings, analytics, and script box. We have a tutorial to help you do that. But that's all you have to do, and it installs that code on every single page of your website. So we make it really easy to get up and going with the Facebook stuff. But that is essentially all the pixel is. I know it kind of seems like a technical, term, pixel, but how you get there in your account. So once you have, Facebook business set up and, you inserted your card, you'll have these options. And all you have to do is go up there to pixels and it'll give you the code. And you'll know you have the code installed when you start getting data like this. And I'll go into this in much more detail. So don't worry. I know it seems like I'm breezing through this stuff right now, but again, I wasn't real sure how technically advanced some people were with some of the Facebook marketing. Cool. Just checking some of these questions coming in, making sure I'm not going too fast. Okay. Thanks, Wayne. Yeah, so it sounds like you guys have already probably beyond this point. If you guys are running ads, then you know where to get your pixel, and it sounds like you've installed it. So David had a question. Can I use the same pixel on multiple websites? The answer is yes. So here's what's actually happening. When you put the pixel on your website, it sends all that data back to Facebook. Then within the Facebook platform, you can say, okay, show an ad to this URL. Or build an audience based on anybody who's been to this site. So for instance, I have two seller sites at Carrot, the one on the top and the one on the bottom. One is in Roseburg and one is in Vancouver, Washington. They both have the same Facebook pixel. I also have a personal blog, which has a little e-commerce store on it that sells computer parts. And that also has the very same pixel. So all that traffic comes back to Facebook. And then in Facebook, I can say, okay, show an ad as if it were for my Raspberry Pi site, or show an ad if it was for my Vancouver site. So yeah, you don't need multiple pixels. And in fact, Facebook only gives you the one because it ties it with your credit card, right? So that's the short answer. If you hire an agency to run ads for you, they're gonna want your pixel, and that's fine. That's just the way Facebook has set up their platform to allow ads to be shown and some of the more detailed targeting. So hopefully that kind of answers your question, David. Let me know if you have any follow-up questions on that. And I know that's one of the more common questions that we get asked about is, can I use the same pixels? So the answer is yes. How do I know if it's working? So a lot of people will install it and then they're kind of mystified on so how do I know it's firing correctly and working? The best tool that I found to use this is if you use Chrome. If you don't use Chrome, I apologize. You might have to see what else is out there. But if you use Chrome and you know how to add on extensions, you can add this Facebook pixel helper. And basically what that does is it fires, whenever a pixel is fired, it tells you which pixel it was and like confirms that it's working. So it would look like this. So on my website, it's telling me one pixel was found at housebuyerdeals.com, and then it shows the pixel ID. And that little green button or little green circle down there that says page view, it's telling me that a page view pixel was fired, aka somebody viewed the page. Pretty self-explanatory. If you had like custom conversion type stuff going on, which we can get into later, it would show that that pixel got fired, right? Cool. And then finally, if you go back into that first view that I was talking about when you go into pixels, if you go up there on the right, you see that little green circle again, where it says caret least pixel. That will tell you that the pixel is active. And what active means is basically it's received some kind of traffic in the last day or so. If it's red, you might not have it set up right because Facebook's telling you we're not receiving, any hits from your pixel. So that's how you can tell if it's working. Okay, so how do you retarget with a pixel? This is a pretty big topic. Like we could and probably will do an entire coaching call just on this topic alone. But basically, this might be, not anything new for you guys. But what retargeting is it allows you to only show ads to people who have come to your website before. And the reason why that is so powerful for marketing, especially with real estate, is basically you've already paid either with SEO or with your time to get somebody to come view your content. Now you have the ability to go follow them on Facebook and continue the conversation and to trigger them to come back to your website for a follow-up action, like getting a lead or filling out a form. I see a lot of investors who will retarget, and like in Facebook, you can say retarget anybody who's been to my website in like the last 120 days. And that does work. It is a strategy, and I would encourage you to build that audience. But I'm more interested in people who have been to my website in the last 3 days, 1 day, a week, and they haven't converted. Because I know that they came with some kind of question on their mind, and now I'm chasing them onto Facebook like, hey, I'm still here. Here's a testimonial. Here's a blog post about how to do X. Trying to get them to revisit that conversation in their head and come back to me looking for an answer. So when you retarget, just know that you have the ability to chase people, not chase, but follow them onto Facebook and show them ads based on things they've clicked on your website. There are a few small, nuances about that, which we can get into here shortly. So within Facebook, and after this little presentation, I'm going to actually hop into my account and click around and show you guys. So I know I'm kind of going through this quick, but don't worry, we will get into this a little bit more. But this is exactly what you would see when you go to create a retargeting audience. So think about the pixel creates the audience, right? So the audience is anybody that you want to see this ad. So in this example, it's people who visit a specific web page. So in this case, the blog in the last 45 days, and then you name it. So, there's my doorbell. So what basically you can do is then say, anybody that's come to my blog, show them an ad that shows them, here's my most popular pieces of content or something like that. So it's a more targeted ad than just trying to show everybody that comes to your website your blog content or something similar, right? So then the other thing is that we get a lot of questions about, and there's some confusion, is like, okay, so retargeting is an audience, but there's also like this weird thing called custom audiences in Facebook. So what's the difference? A custom audience is basically anybody who, you can have it be things like a list. You could upload a list of people who have opted in the past. It could be something like a lookalike audience. So maybe you upload that list of 100 people, and then you tell Facebook, show me 100 people that are very similar to that list. And Facebook can kind of go in their demographics and find similar people. So that's kind of the difference. And I probably won't go into that a whole lot because that would that's kind of a rabbit hole, honestly, and maybe we can have a follow-up call about that. But I just want it to be clear because a lot of people say retargeting, list, custom audience, what's the difference? They are the same, but the custom audiences, you can do some of that lookalike audience and uploading lead data type stuff to Facebook. So, and yeah, to be clear, like most of this stuff is geared towards sellers. The cash buyer side is pretty interesting. You can definitely get cash buyers interested in your list by just basically having an ad that says looking for distressed or looking for discounted properties or handyman deal, that kind of stuff. But this kind of strategy type stuff mainly goes after the sellers because obviously that's what we all need. So I was going to open it up for Q&A now, but I definitely want to hop in the back end of my Facebook here and kind of show you guys some more of what I was talking about. So if you guys had some questions, I know I went through that really fast, but if you guys had some questions, I'd be happy to start there. Hey, Alan. Yeah, I see your question here. Alan's saying that he's running some ads, evergreen ads, so he doesn't have to reboot campaigns to keep Facebook showing them to your audience with low conversions. How to increase conversions from Facebook? I get a lot of clicks, but low conversions. Maybe my ad is getting in front of the wrong type of audience. Okay. Yeah, so that's probably the biggest problem with Facebook marketing is making sure that the conversions are coming in. So two things there. First, I would ensure that the conversion tracking is correct. If you can give me the website, I can take a look for you with that little Facebook pixel check thing that I was showing earlier. But I would check that it is actually tracking conversions correctly. And the second thing I think you're onto it is the audience. Getting clicks is great, but if you are showing the ad to people who aren't interested and they just click, people click because they like, pretty looking images and they'll click, see your website. Oh, they realize what it is and they'll bounce back to Facebook. So I would say it's probably a mixture of both, just not completely nailing the targeting. And then the other question I guess I would ask is, what are you doing for testing on these ads? So if like one ad is getting 100 clicks and the next ad's getting 250 clicks and they both have 0 conversions, I would take the one that has the 250 clicks and make a similar looking ad and like maybe tweak up the image or the headline of it a little bit and just send all the traffic to those two new ads and see if it is the copy versus just like the audience, if that makes sense. Okay. Just reading through a couple other questions here. Somebody's asking about targeting investors, passive income, turnkey type system stuff. Yeah, so I don't honestly have a whole lot of experience or success doing that. I know the more niche you get with some of the investing types, the harder it's going to be to target people. Not saying it's impossible, not saying you can't do it. You just might have to really get creative with your ads and then make sure you have your tracking down so you can make sure you're not overspending. Cool. All right. So just keep popping through those questions as you guys have them. And right now I'll hop over here and kind of just slowly go through some of that stuff we talked about. But first things first, here we are in the back of Facebook's ad manager. So this little icon up here is going to get you anywhere you need to go. Power editor is where you're going to make your ads. Ads manager is also this another way to make ads, but for the pixel stuff and what we're concerned about, we can go in here and see that this pixel's green, so it means it's getting some action, saying it last received a pixel 5 days ago. This little eye icon, it says view pixel code. So this is what's going to actually give you the code to install. You can copy it and then go into your website, your Carrot website. You can go into settings. Analytics and scripts, and drop the Facebook code right there. And that's going to, like I was saying, install it on every single page of your website. So no problems there. I kind of glossed over the custom audience type stuff, so we can go ahead and take a little look around that. I really wanted this call to be more about the pixel and kind of the questions you guys had around, like if you were using it right, and can I use it on multiple websites and that kind of stuff. If we go down the custom audience rabbit hole, it's getting more into like the strategy of running the ads, because it's like that's where you actually use the custom audiences. So we can start down there, but if you guys have more questions on that, I'd be happy to hop on here for another call just on custom audiences. But that's obviously done under audiences. Facebook makes it so you have to have at least 100 people in an audience before you can start showing ads to them. And I just kicked these off not too long ago. This is for another e-commerce site that I'm starting, and I haven't really launched it live yet. Just building the list so I have them ready when it's time to go. Create the audience. So here is what I was talking about. So a custom audience is the same thing as a retargeting audience. So we can come in here, and here's where I was talking about. You can upload, user or people who have opted in previously, but this is mainly where you'll want to, create audiences is website traffic. And you could say people who visit specific pages, but not others. So the power behind this is, it's like yourdomainname.com. So they visited anything on your homepage, but exclude people who visit any web page that meets the following criteria. So people who visited, yourdomain.com/thank-you, which is what page they're redirected to after they opt in on step 2. So this list is basically creating people who have already opted in on your website, right? So you could exclude them when you do your retargeting. Okay, so it's pretty powerful stuff. You can get very selective of who's seen what, and then showing ads to them based on what they have and haven't done. So just so you can kind of see how this all works out, like what you can do with the custom audiences. Let's hop into one of these accounts that has ended. So this was a campaign I ran a while ago, and we can see in here that the ads were ran to, this is a conversion campaign, which we can, if you guys have questions about that, shoot them through and we can chat about them. But I'm showing this ad to everyone in Roseburg plus 25 miles. Roseburg is a pretty small rural town. I set it to 30 to 65, just so I could kind of get a little bit more defined market. Set it to the gender to both men and women, languages, English. And then here's where I would set the custom audience. If I wanted to only show it to people who have been to my website in the last 120 days, I can set it, I can add on the list here. Now, I'm saying it's unavailable because it's too small for me to do that right now, but you want to get that retargeting list built up pretty soon so you can use it in a couple of weeks or however long it takes you to get 100 to 200 people to visit your website. So that's kind of where we're at with that. Oh, Alan said, I'd like to see an example of setting up the pixel with a standard event of a lead conversion on thank you page. Okay, cool. So I actually have that over here. So wait, Alan, I got to see your 2 questions. 100 people in an audience, does that have to be email addresses or can it be names and property addresses? Okay, so in a lookalike audience, that is when you create an audience based on another audience you have already built. So I don't know, that's my doorbell again. So I don't know exactly how many you have to have for that. What I was saying is Facebook won't let you specifically show ads to like less than 100 people if you haven't built up 100 people, right? I know that's kind of confusing, so I can come back to that. You said I want to see an example of the pixel and standard event. Okay, yep. So if I come over here to my pages, let's see. And I go to thank you. So down here, the script box in the bottom. Okay, let me expand this so we can all see it. Okay, so here's that base code you were seeing before with the pixel and everything. I left the page view on, but then all you need to do is right here, put this FBQ track lead. And what that does is anybody that makes it to this page, it fires back a special event, a conversion event to Facebook telling them that that person made it to this page. So then in here, right, like these are what Alan's talking about, the event codes. So you said you wanted a lead conversion. So like right here, lead. See, so it's that FBQ track lead, and then it gives you the ability if you wanted to put a value, but obviously that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So that's all you need to do to set up on your thank you page. Okay, so I placed the pixel again with the event, even though the pixel itself is the header of this site already. Yes. Yeah, Alan, you do. Yeah, there's other ways like to dynamically do it, but we found like that to be the simplest, and everything I've done online with the Facebook marketing shows that it's working for me to get that back. Yep, cool. And then David says, how can I check if my pixel is done right? So I saw you put through your website. Can you do that one more time for me, David? And I'll just look at it right here on the call with my little Facebook checker, which is this tool right here. So this little tool will show me that it's working. Load time, millisecond, took 26 milliseconds. All right, cool. So David, it looks like your pixel is firing here. So it looks like you have it set up right on all the pages. Alan says, how do I check if the lead event is firing? So that comes back in here to this pixels view and then events, and you would just search for that event, right? So if it was lead, it would say like this, none of these have fired in a while, but it would tell you that it fired. And Alan, you can do that by just, if it's installed correctly, just go to your thank you page and it'll fire for you. Mm-hmm. Yep, no problem, David. Cool. Yeah, so Sarah's asking about if she wanted just to send this to somebody. So you can just copy paste the code from here, or you can come over here, like I was just showing, actions, email the pixel code, and just type in, like if you had like a developer or somebody helping you out, just type in their email and it'll give them everything that they need to install on your Carrot site. Yep. Cool. Yep, no problem, Steve. Yeah. So if you guys have any more questions, keep piping them through here. I'm just kind of going back through and checking some of these. Another thing I've done in the past is if somebody downloads a free guide, I can create an audience. So like not a qualified lead. If they visit the homepage but they don't make it to the step 2 page, aka they didn't opt in, then that's kind of my retargeting list for people who I should go after. David saying the pixel should be on the seller site. Why is that? Well, you can have your pixel on the seller site and your buyer site. You should put it on both. Hey, Barry. Yeah, so Barry's asking if there's like a tutorial that covers this. Yes, we do have some tutorials. We also have a blog post that goes over this basically in the exact same amount of detail with pictures and step by step. And then, Barry, if you get stuck, just send through an email and the team can forward it to me and I can help you out with that. But the best way to find that tutorial is just go to help.oncarrot and you can do a search in there for Facebook or retargeting, and you should be able to find it. Yeah, so the difference between traffic conversions and visit, yeah, that's a good question, Alan. Yeah, that is easily the most frustrating thing about the Facebook stuff. Without getting into too much details, yes, there's always going to be some discrepancies because people have ad blockers turned on, and you can basically set it up so like analytics and Facebook can't track your stuff, so they block the pixel from firing. So see discrepancies in that. People refresh on your step 2 page, it'll fire 2 conversions. Stuff like that's always going to kind of be a bear to track down with analytics and making sure everything matches up. Also, with some of the Facebook stuff, if you are looking in reports to see custom event fire, so that lead event, you can sort by just show me the conversions that came from lead. I think Facebook counts all conversions like page view and all that stuff as a conversion. So you make sure when you're sorting through your reports, you can kind of take a look at that. That's a little advanced. So if you wanted to have kind of that conversation outside of this, we definitely can. But yeah, there's always going to be like some discrepancies between, Facebook might say 100 people, Google Analytics might say, 87, and that's kind of why that happens. Mm-hmm. Yep. No, yeah. No, it's always fun trying to track that stuff down, but I actually enjoy it. So unless you're seeing like really big swings in differences, like Alan's saying, if you're seeing like hundreds in variance, like you might want to look at what's being tracked and all that stuff, because that sounds like it might be a little bit different. Cool. Yep, just checking, making sure I'm not missing any of these questions that you guys are putting them through. So keep putting them through. We'll hang out here for a little while longer and answer any other questions. I can go back and revisit some of the stuff. I realize I kind of breezed through that. Maybe it would help. I know another handful of questions we get is like, what should I make the ad look like? This is pretty cool. Facebook made this not too long ago. I don't know, maybe it's been here a while, but I just became aware of it. They allow you to get that you can like build ads in Facebook and kind of see them in real time. Let's see. I think it's under this creative hub. So you can create a mock-up of a Facebook ad right here to kind of practice, so you don't accidentally turn it on and spend a bunch of money you don't mean to. So in here is kind of where you want to do that. Yeah. Alan's asking any tips on getting in front of the right audiences. The best advice without like the best blanket advice without kind of seeing what you've done and really getting into your audiences. I actually stay away from that detailed targeting stuff. So when you're talking about targeting homeowners or people who face pre-foreclosure or fans of whatever, I actually stay away from that because we've just found that it's not as accurate as we probably would like. I know personally when I, liked a lot of pages or, followed stuff, it was back when Facebook was kind of starting and it's not necessarily true to my interests now. So I kind of stay away from those and mainly I go after demographics. So within, some certain mileage of my target market, I mess with the age. So if it's like Roseburg is typically older homes, older families, older people. I've run ads from like 50 to 60, just seeing if I couldn't squeeze out a little bit more optimization there. And I would go more for like the retargeting lists or things like that. So it's like smaller audiences for sure. But I know Adrienne and I've even done it. You just run a blanket ad to anybody in Roseburg. It's kind of, you can spend quite a bit of money quickly doing that. But honestly, like that's probably the best way to do it. Yeah, lead ads. So I can't comment too much about lead ads. I've never ran it for sellers sites. I've run them for on Carrot. So I've ran it for like the demo and stuff like that. But yeah, I typically will just do a single image ad or a video ad. Videos tend to get a lot of engagement for really cheap. It's like the cheapest clicks you can get on Facebook right now. Cool. Let me get that tutorial up here for you, Barry. A little thing about me: whenever I'm looking for stuff on Carrot, I just Google it. So here's that Facebook retargeting, and I'll send that to you. But this is kind of going over that, like, very similar graphic, explaining it, and then it's going to get into, how to get your pixel on there, all that stuff, how to build your audience, right? And then verifying it's working, all that good stuff, right? So this should all look very similar to you guys, but yeah, that's how that post is set up. Yeah. So Alan, question for you: do you guys have like a list of people who have opted in already? Yeah, so I kind of got sidetracked, but I was showing you guys over here you can create like mockups. One cool thing that Facebook lets you do is it lets you pull from an image library of stock images for free to use on your ads. So you could type in, old house or something similar and find a free high quality stock photo to show in your ad like that. For some reason it's not wanting to work, but it's a bummer. Put this sweet picture of a cabbage, see if that tricks it into working. Not sure. Yeah, but it's barely over 100. So Alan's okay. So if you do have a list, then yeah, you can upload it to that customer list and create a lookalike audience, and then show it to the lookalike audience, and retarget anybody who's come, and then do like a big geographical area of whatever your market is. I would definitely test that out and give that a go, and then leave off all the detailed targeting and see if that helps improve your conversions. Yeah, to be honest, like getting seller leads is not the easiest thing, like anyway. So just like be kind of prepared, or going with the mindset of knowing that it's not like there's not a magical like silver bullet for this. It's just kind of persistence and targeting, and always looking at your data and kind of letting that drive your actions. Yeah, I honestly don't know. Like when you use customer lists in Facebook, it's interested in things like name, email, address. Like there's certain things that Facebook won't allow you to include to upload to those lists. So yeah, I mean, if you had their email or their address, you could probably get in front of them, unless they've obviously moved or they were never in the house in the first place. But that's still interesting. Would a very strong lookalike audience be a magic bullet? I mean, it just depends. Like I've had in the past, I've had a couple investors give me a list and I've uploaded it, and we've pulled a couple leads out of there in the past too. I mean, like it's kind of hard to say because one seller situation could be very different from another seller situation. So it's kind of like that Facebook, you're kind of relying on them to do behind the scenes magic to find people that are in, the same boat. But what it does for me is it allows me to kind of target or have some idea of if those people that are opting in on my website are also, if there's more people out there like that. So with anything you do online, as far as like paid advertising, it's just really about testing and kind of incremental improvements, and then just watching your spend and going on what's working. Cool. I guess I can get off this screen since it's not anything to look at. Looks like it might load now, but I mean, you get the idea of kind of what this is doing. There you go. So then you can come in here and create your ads. One piece of advice I would give you guys is don't put a picture of a brand new house right here, because that's likely not what you're going to be making offers on. So go ahead and find something that's more representative of a fixer-upper type, inherited style house, and go that route. Cool. Looks like some of the questions have died down a little bit, so we can hang out here for a little bit more. Just going to answer a couple more questions, and then we can get out of here. If you guys need to follow up with me on any of this stuff, you can just email us at support@oncarrot.com, and I'm happy to hop on the phone or reach out to you guys and kind of answer more specific questions. It can be difficult to kind of get real advanced on some of this Facebook stuff when people are just beginning, because everybody's obviously in different stages of their marketing. So if I didn't address something, I apologize. Reach out to me. If I went way over your head on this stuff, I apologize. Let us know that so we can make another coaching call that takes a step back and maybe does more of the basics. You just let us know. Do we find Instagram a waste of money? We haven't pulled a lead out of it ever. Audience is probably too young for seller leads. Yeah. What we typically do on Instagram is we show, because like there's an option in Facebook for anybody that doesn't know, Facebook owns Instagram, and you can show your ads on Instagram with your Facebook account. So you don't have to necessarily have an Instagram account. It's just like another place for your Facebook ad to be shown. And in all honesty, yeah, we definitely see less clicks, less engagement, because obviously there's a lot less people on Instagram than there are on Facebook. So I would look in your data, and if it's not performing, you can actually exclude. So say, don't show my ad on Facebook, on Instagram, which would make your Facebook spend, your dollars you're investing in your ads, go further on Facebook, which if you're pulling leads out of Facebook, then I would say, keep doing that. And maybe ignore Instagram. But I know there's plenty of people who are able to generate a few leads off of Instagram. So it just really depends on what your data's telling you there. Cool. Yeah, I got the thumbs up emoji. That's awesome. Thank you. All right, guys. I am out of here. So again, if you guys have any questions, hit us up. Let us know what we can do to better serve you on some of this Facebook marketing stuff. If there's courses or videos or anything that you guys need to help you out, let us know and we can see what we can do to help you out. All right. Hope you guys have a great day and we will see you next week.